institution raised on their flagpole what is called a pride flag. A pride flag. Flag supporting the homosexual community. The Attorney General of Jamaica tweeted against the pride flag. Tweeted against the pride flag. How can the Attorney General sit in the cabinet and allow this clause to come out and we don't get a tweet? How can this go to legislation committee and come out? How can this pass the parliament in which the Attorney General sits without being noticed that this seems to be unconstitutional? So, Mr. President, I have a big concern about this personal relationship and what we are about to let in. So I can't support this definition in this bill. I have said to my side, if I alone have to divide, I have to divide on this one. So that I'm asking the government to consider, reconsider this definition in light of the Constitution, in the light of which we approach. Then also, Mr. President, it goes on and says, and a personal relationship also exists between two persons if a personal relationship exists between each of them and a third person. What the hell does this mean, President? What does it mean? When I sent it to a lawyer this morning, Center Night, and it wasn't you, the lawyer said back to me and said, polygamous relationship? So that's what it stir up in people. I hear threesomes, but I don't know if that's what is intended here. It could be polygamy. So we're adapting something. I am sure we cut and paste this. That this is not an original thing. So, are we promoting polygamy? I don't know, because nobody has explained this to us. But what does it mean? And a personal relationship also exists between two persons if a personal relationship exists between each of them and a third person. And part of personal relationship include cohabitation. And if you look at the definition of cohabitation, you see it includes sexual relations. So I'd urge the government, yes, it has passed the 63. Yes, the minister says this is a technical bill. Yes. Yes. They didn't pick it up. But that is why, Senator Knight, we are the review chamber. And we look to see these things. So I would take time to read these bills, not just to bang the desk. And this is fundamentally something I can't support. I urge the minister to look at it. Maybe we shouldn't go through all the stages today, so we get some policy direction. Because let me tell you where it's going. This bill comes to us. This bill comes to us through the Prime Minister. So what would be being said, Senator Morgan and Senator Samuda, is that there's a fundamental policy shift. A fundamental policy shift by the government to embracing cohabitation by men. I am proclaiming that that's now your policy as outlined by this bill. Right? So it cannot be that the Prime Minister name is associated with this bill. So I urge, don't know if he's back from Geneva, that's why Morgan was appointed, but pause on this bill. Let us make sure we get a definition that fits our Constitution. It cannot be that the Prime Minister, it cannot be in the Prime Minister's name. Hold on. It cannot be in the Prime Minister's name that we're promoting same-sex. It can't be in the Prime Minister's name that same-sex marriage is introduced. This is the Prime Minister's bill. This is the Prime Minister's bill. And the Prime Minister I know, is not into that. The Prime Minister I know is not into that. The Prime Minister I know is not into that. And I therefore urge the rest of those on that side not to join it. Not to join it. Eh? Prime Minister not into polygamy. It runs against the Constitution, runs against the Constitution. It runs against a policy directive. The Prime Minister once said he would have referendum on buggery, ganja, and CCJ. Well, there's no referendum on CCJ. There's no referendum on ganja. And I have not heard of any referendum on buggery. So I can't see how we would get to the buggery thing in this legislation and to sanction it by this definition. That's what happens when we cut and paste from other places without regard for the sensitivities of Jamaica. If I was opportunistic, Mr. President, you know what I'd be saying? Boy, this government into Wobia, this government into abortion, and now this government into same-sex. But I'm not going to say it because I'm not an opportunist. I just said the Prime Minister don't believe in it. So I know that. I know that. And I know the Attorney General. No, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'll repeat what I'm saying. I know the Attorney General don't believe in it. I don't know if she miss it. Because when the flag went up in Ligony, she was quick to tweet. Tweet faster than Trump. So much so that Trump has heard her and said no more flying up that flag. You never know if I did. I thought they were rude. It no matter. But I want you to know, support me, that this class can't stand. May it please you, Mr. President. May it please